Happy Halloween! It's time to get ready, and if you want to have the coolest trick-or-treat bag on the street, then watch this video. I'm going to show you how. The trick-or-treat bag consists of two panels with faces on them, or decoration. One panel is going to be a black background, and we're going to do this white ghost with the word boo on it. And the other half of the bag is going to be this Frankenstein face on a lime green background. The green will be his skin. What's important, and I don't know if you can see these lines on here, I drew them in with a pen that will erase with heat. You want to start with an 18 by 18 inch square. Now that doesn't mean you can decorate all 18 by 18 inches at all. I've got a 1-inch hem at the top of this square. Then we have to allow for the sides of the bag. So we've got a few inches I've marked off here. Those will be the sides of the bag. And probably I marked off 3 inches at the bottom. That will be the bottom of the bag. So all in all, this center area, I'm comfortable with an 11 by 13 measurement. 11 inches this way, 13 inches this way. So that's how I cut my paper, 11 by 13. And when it comes time to fuse these pieces onto this panel, this is the guide I will use. I'll be at the top hem, and I'm just going to go around like this. The pieces of this design are going to be turned into appliques. Now, how do you do that? You cut them up first of all, and then you fuse them onto, I'm using Heat and Bond Ultra Hold. It's an iron-on adhesive. This stuff is great. Now, one side is paper, and the other side is the fusible area. This is the shiny side, and you can feel it too. It has a texture. This will melt onto this paper, creating an iron-on. Then when we iron it onto the thing, we're going to pull the paper off the back. It's great, and you will love it. First, we have to cut these pieces out because everything has to be separate. So I've already done that. I want to show you. I have cut out all the pieces for the Frankenstein and for the ghost. I've laid them on the colors of fabric that they're going to be in the long run. So all the yellows are here, the word boo, and the background of the eyes of Frankenstein. And these are the black ones. That's Frankenstein's hair, his scars, little eyes and the eyebrows, and then the ghost and all that. And the ghost, Frankenstein's mouth is red, so it's one little piece in red. So I've cut these out, and so my next step is to take my Heat and Bond, and I want the paper side, not the sticky side. And just one at a time, for instance, I'm going to take the yellows here. I will cut a piece of this off that's about the whole size of this yellow pad, which is great, so I can cut this off. But I'm going to take each one of these letters and turn them upside down and draw around them. I'm going to trace on the paper side of this. That's my next step. I finished drawing my yellow pieces onto the paper portion of this Heat and Bond Ultra Hold. I put them in reverse, as you can see, that B is upside down. And with my iron, I only pressed maybe 5 seconds in each spot. Do not use steam. So I pressed it here, and this is fused together. So this paper, this fabric is now an iron-on. I can peel this off when I'm ready. Now I'm not ready, I have to cut these out first. So that's the next step. I'm going to cut each of these out, and then they're going to be ready to be an iron-on. So we'll be placing them on the fabric piece once I get all these done. So there's a lot to do. So I'm going to start working on my appliques. Okay, we have fused all of our pieces to this Heat and Bond. So we have a paper backing, and we're creating an iron-on. So here's all my pieces. Look, they're all loose right now, even the ghost. I mean, everything has a paper backing, so it's ready to be turned into an iron-on. And that's the next step. And so I want to show you the paper will peel right off the back, and then I can touch this just fine. It's not sticking to my hands, but I can place it down where I want it to be. And once I have that down, this is not a hot iron, I'm just going to press and hold for about 2 to 3 seconds. That's all there is to it. It's going to be fused down. So I'm going to be very careful when I place these because you only get one try at this. So I'm going to iron all of these down onto the thing. Then the next most important thing to do, and it's a little tedious step, but it's really important, we need to do a small zigzag stitch around everything. So I've got some black thread to go around my blacks. I've got some white thread to go around the white. On something as thin as this scar, which is in black, I'm not going to try to zigzag around all of that. That would be silly. I'm going to zigzag right across it. So, and just take in the whole thing. Because this fused backing, it's going to hold for a good long time, but it's not going to last for eternity. And the more you use this bag, you don't want your ends to start curling and coming up. That's the value, and that's the reason why we want a zigzag stitch around all of this to make sure this bag will last a long time. So that's the next big step. Okay, now we have fused all of the cutout pieces to our panel. We've also done the zigzag stitch around every single one of these. It was a lot of work, but it's really looking nice. Next is time for the handles. Now for the handles, I cut 2 strips of black fabric. They are 2.5 inches wide, 20 inches long. And what I've done is just folded them into thirds here, and then run a zigzag stitch all the way along there. Here is my finished one. It's ready to be a handle. And then I've also taken some white chalk and I've marked at a 1 inch mark from the end on both sides here, because we have to put this handle on the bag and we need to know exactly where to put it. The best thing to do is I'm going to take my ruler, I'm going to go 6 inches in and at 1.5 inches down from the top. 6 inches and 1.5. I'm taking a piece of white chalk just to mark this angle. That is the bottom angle of my handle. Same with this end. 1.5 inches in and 6 inches down. That is where that handle will go. So what I want to do is fold on my chalk line at my 1 inch mark. And I'm going to hide this part because this is the unfinished edge. I'm going to put it right into this L shape that I just drew. Take a pin and just secure it. Take the handle, wrap it around, make sure you're not twisting it or anything, and fold this end down on its 1 inch mark. Likewise, put it inside of this new L shape that we drew and pin that down. So the handle is in good shape. We've pinned this down. Now what we're going to do is sew a line close to the edge around this whole rectangular shape all the way to the top of the bag, down to the bottom of the handle and around. Do this on both of those and then we're going to be ready to assemble the bag. I've already laid this handle out on the other part of our bag, on the boo section. So these handles are ready to sew. Okay, the handles are on, so we're almost through. Now we're going to put right sides together and I want you to match the tops. Make sure this top seam is what's matching here. You can see that I zigzag. This is the back of my Frankenstein. You can see all my zigzagging. Here's what you're going to do. Sew a seam with a 1/2 inch seam allowance down this one to the edge, then down this side to the edge, and then across the bottom. After you've done that, take some pinking shears. They're the ones that look like zigzags. We're going to trim close to our seam line on all 3 of these edges, and then we are almost done. I've sewn both panels together, right sides facing each other. I did a 1/2 inch seam allowance all around, and then I took the pinking shears. There's a zigzag edge all around this. I trimmed it up nice. We only have one major step to do and then we're done. These bottom corners, we're going to cut a piece out of them. Now, from where my seams meet, I'm going to measure in 2.5 inches up, 2.5 inches over. And I'm just going to draw a line here. I'm going to do it on both of the corner pieces. These corners are going to be cut out. We're going to cut this actual square right out of here on both sides. So the last step to this bag is we want to pull this corner open at the bottom. See what I'm doing here? I'm pulling this open. I'm going to match this corner with this corner. These 2 corners, I'm going to pull them together, bend it up a little bit, and you can see that I'm making a flat edge here. This piece, I'm going to sew at a 1/2 inch seam allowance, one straight line across it. And again, I'm going to take the pinking shears and trim it. I'm going to do that with both corners of this bag. Then we're going to turn the bag inside out. I have sewn this edge and I've used the pinking shears to give it a nice cropped edge, and I've done the same thing with the other corner. All we have to do is turn this out. We've got ourselves a trick-or-treat bag. We turned it inside out, right side out, and here's what we got. We got the great Frankenstein face on one side. We got the Boo Ghost on the other side. These images can be anything you want. Search the internet for Halloween, fun, cartoon. You'll get all kinds of great ideas. Even kids' coloring books have great art in them that you can turn into appliques and then turn into your own art projects. Have a happy and safe Halloween.